Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today we have got another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 Prestige class description for you. And today, coming at you from the Complete Adventurer, we have got the Shadowbane Inquisitor. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is, first we're going to talk about what is the Shadowbane Inquisitor, and we're going to talk about what it takes to become the Shadowbane Inquisitor. And we're going to talk about what you get as the Shadowbane Inquisitor, and finally we're going to talk about how good the Shadowbane Inquisitor is and how you might use him in his build. So let's get started. So what is the Shadowbane Inquisitor? Basically, they are part of the Order of Illumination, and they are dedicated to destroying the forces of evil. It's not about simply wiping them out or finding them, or no, they want them gone. These are typically paladins, usually with a little bit of rogue. The rogue just to kind of know how they think a little bit, and they're all about wiping evil out. They really don't care about they have to make some sacrifices. You know, they'd rather not, obviously. These guys are good, but if they have to wipe out a village because they're hiding a demon, they're gonna do it, because it's better to do that than it is to let the demon go free. So they're going to do whatever it takes to wipe out evil, even if that requires, some less than great things to happen, But yeah, that's what the Shadowbane Inquisitor is. So now let's talk about what it takes to become one.
So first off, it requires a base attack bonus of +5. It also requires that you are lawful good, and it's going to require skills of gather information 4 ranks, knowledge religion 2 ranks, and sense motive 8 ranks. It also requires the feat power attack. It requires detect evil or the ability to cast it as a spell, and it's also going to require turn undead and sneak attack. Now this is a decent amount of stuff. 5 base attack is going to be a fair amount. Sneak attack, turn undead. One of the better ways to get this would be to grab 4 levels of paladin and 1 level of sneak attack fighter. That should get it done for you. Pretty much everything. The skills are going to be a little bit tricky. Feat's not too bad. It's one you'll probably want anyway, so that's not a huge deal. So that's what it takes to become a Shadowbane Inquisitor.
Alright, so now that we've talked about what it takes to become a Shadowbane Inquisitor, let's talk about what you get as a Shadowbane Inquisitor. First off, they get a good base attack bonus. They get a good fortitude save, but a bad reflex and will save. They have 4+ int skills, which is pretty solid, and their skill list is actually pretty decent, so that's not bad. They have a d10 hit dice, so again, pretty good. It's a pretty solid chassis overall. They also get weapon and armor proficiency with pretty much everything except for tower shields, so that's really solid, to be honest. And they have absolute conviction, which absolute conviction means that if they ever stop being lawful good, they can never take any more levels in this class, but they don't actually lose anything. So that's actually really big. They get Pierce Shadows, which lets them use a turn undead attempt to create a burst of light, which is pretty decent, 20-foot radius around themselves, and yeah, fairly strong. He gets Sacred Stealth, which lets him give up a spell slot in order to get a +4 and later +8 bonus to most of his stealth skills, so that's decent, although a bit situational. They also get Smite, which, unlike the Paladin, it doesn't matter about their actual alignment. It matters on if the Inquisitor deems them to be corrupt. So if he deems them that they are corrupt and deserve to be struck down, then this will work. Now you can't just be using it willy-nilly. You have to actually use real world logic and why you think he's corrupt, but yeah, it's better than the Paladins for sure. At 3rd level, he also gains Improved Sunder as a bonus feat, so it's actually a pretty decent bonus feat, so not bad. And he also gets Sneak Attack, which goes up to 3d6, and it does stack with a Rogue Sneak Attack, so that's pretty good. At 5th level, he gets Merciless Purity. Now, Merciless Purity, basically, if he uses Smite on somebody, then if they happen to die by any means, then he gets a +1 sacred bonus to his fortitude reflex saves for 24 hours. So that's kind of cool. And once he's used his smite on somebody, he gets a +1 on attack and damage against them for the rest of the encounter. So that's pretty good. At 9th level, he can use turn undead attempts to not only create light, but actually use the light to damage for 46 points of damage to anyone that's caught in the light. So that's a decent little burst attack. Not the most damage, but not bad for, just something that they can kind of get as a little bonus. This also allows you to multi-class freely between Paladin and Rogue as well as this class. So you are able to continue to take more levels of Rogue as well as levels of Paladin and this class. And you don't have to worry about the Paladin's restriction. So that's kind of nice. And one nice thing that's about the Shadowbane Inquisitor is if you pick up Blackguard later after falling as a Shadowbane Inquisitor, you can use your levels of fallen Shadowbane Inquisitor as Blackguard. And you get to keep everything as well, which is pretty nice. So this lets you gain all the nice abilities of, the fallen Paladin for Blackguard and still keep everything. So pretty good all in all. So yeah, that's what the Shadowbane Inquisitor gets. Let's talk about how good the Shadowbane Inquisitor is and how you might use him in a build. So let's get started. Well, are they good? And the answer is kind of, actually. They do get that full base attack bonus, and they do get some sneak attack, which is pretty good. But honestly, the thing that really sticks out for them way more than anything is the fact that you can substitute levels of this and use them as Fallen Paladin levels for Blackguard. And well, that is huge. So this lets you get some pretty decent stuff, and you get to keep it all while also getting benefits from it for Blackguard and not losing anything from this. So this is really good, in all honesty. And when you take Paladin with that, you can actually get rid of your Paladin levels for it. So how I would personally do a build with this is I would do something like first level Fighter, and it would be the sneak attack Fighter. That way you can get your sneak attack requirement. Then the next 4 levels you go Paladin. You get some pretty good stuff with Paladin, and that'll let you get into this at 6th level. So boom, you get your 6 levels. Then you want to take about 7 levels of this, because honestly Shadowbane Inquisitor's pretty solid, and it gets some pretty good stuff up till 7th level. The last 3 levels aren't as good, but the first 7 are quite solid. Then I would try and figure out how you're going to fall at that point. At that point you're like, 13th level, 14th level, 15th level. For those levels, continue in this for 8th, 9th, and 10th, but be ready to sacrifice them, or maybe jump in, take another level of Paladin. You're going to be sacrificing it, but that's fine. It'd be okay. You're going to eventually sacrifice all those 4 levels of Paladin as well as this in order to just immediately jump to eventually 7th level in Blackguard. And you'll have about a 3-level range where you can see where it fits in the story for you to fall from grace and become evil and really embrace evil, which honestly this really fits nicely into it, because their kind of twisted sense of good really has a sense for turning evil. So yeah, I can definitely see how this could fall pretty easily. So you got about 3 levels where you can play with that in the story and still have a pretty optimized build. After that, those last 5 levels, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you can kind of do whatever with those. They're somewhat free. I would recommend some sort of like melee thing, maybe something from Tome of Battle, but honestly, if you can think of any cool build for that, yeah, that'll work great. A casting build, probably not, but maybe you can make it work. It really depends. It would be definitely difficult considering how limited of casting you get, but there's ways to make it work. But yeah, this can actually be a pretty solid prestige class. Is it the best? No, far from it. There's definitely way better stuff than this out there, but it's got a solid chassis, and it's got a pretty good niche use with the Blackguard. So yeah, this is actually a pretty dang good prestige class. All right, so that's the Shadowbane Inquisitor. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. And as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you.